T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected.
Trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
Yeah, so him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know,
The streets aren't talking about anything else, right? Now except the Harris family's nightmare. And this. Time, it's not about flashy chains or viral Instagram. Lives, it's about survival inside one of the coldest places. Imaginable King Harris, the son of rap legends T.I. and Tiny, is now in intensive care after a brutal prison attack that has the entire world locked. In the reports coming out sound less like prison drama and more like a gangland thriller, straight out of a movie. According to insiders, King was jumped in his block so viciously that guards had to drag him out as chaos swallowed the tear.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
His face-swollen body barely moving while the whole prison erupted into a melee that left several inmates bruised and battered. This wasn't just some random fight. Whispers say it was a calculated hit, and the reasons behind it might be darker than anyone thought inside those Georgia prison walls. The talk is chilling. This wasn't about a petty beef or a routine test of toughness. It was a targeted ambush, set up to break him down. Some inmates allegedly plotted for weeks, planning to humiliate him for what they saw as constant flexing of wealth and privilege. Others claim it was meant as a brutal reminder that behind bars your last name and Instagram followers don't buy respect, only loyalty and toughness keep you breathing. Weakness makes you pray, one former inmate explained, and right now King is learning that lesson the hardest way possible. The moment the news broke, the internet lit up like wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform flooded with reactions. Some people were genuinely shocked and sent prayers for the young man. Others mocked him, saying King finally met the real world and couldn't handle it.
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting has gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
That online divide only poured gasoline on the pressure building around the Harris family. Insiders say they're in full-blown panic mode. T.I. reportedly hasn't slept since the attack, burning up phones, calling attorneys, politicians, and anyone with even a shred of pull inside the Georgia Department of Corrections. One Atlanta source even claimed T.I. is ready to sign NDAs, cut checks, or make promises if that's what it takes to get King out alive before another strike lands. Meanwhile, Tiny is said to be running her own war room, coordinating with publicists, media allies, and lawyers. But even their famously solid front is starting to crack under the stress behind. Closed doors, insiders whisper their arguments have turned explosive, each parent pointing the finger at the other for how their son ended up in this nightmare.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your bed.
Friends close to the family say it's hard to tell if they're fighting for King's survival or just fighting each other. Either way, their son's life hangs in the balance while the foundation of their marriage begins to crack. The once unshakable himself is Atlanta's next big thing. It's unraveling, and this time the stakes aren't about TV ratings or family pride. It's life or death. Making things even murkier are the rumors ripping through the streets and prison yards. Some whispers claim King got caught in a contraband deal gone sideways, either refusing to play ball or trying to finesse the wrong crew. In prison, loyalty is currency, and a broken promise can get you marked. Quick insiders close to the investigation even allege King was lured to a specific corner of the prison where 3 men ambushed him right as the surveillance cameras mysteriously went dark. Department of Corrections insists there was no glitch, but nobody's buying that excuse. As one of T.I.'s old road managers bluntly put it, it's Georgia cameras break when they need to break. Now with King's condition still unstable, the family's tensions are boiling hotter. The Never fans haven't forgotten how bad things already looked months ago, like that infamous Falcons game incident when T.I. put King in a headlock live on Instagram after another explosive argument about his upbringing.
I graduated. That's the only good thing they posted of me going viral. I'm not on the media's good side. I don't know why, but it ain't.
The world saw T.I. shouting, "You are embarrassing yourself and your family," as security rushed in, and Tiny tried calming things down. Back then, people thought that was King's rock bottom moment. But this ambush inside prison shows things can go way lower. Now with King fighting for his life in a hospital, Bed and the Harris family's private chaos, spilling out across the internet that Falcon's game was just the dress. Rehearsal for a far uglier chapter. To make matters worse, prison. Insiders say King wasn't just targeted for who he is. He was taunted relentlessly about his parents' infamous scandals, especially those still lingering trafficking. Allegations tied to T and Tiny. Family denied. It all but those rumors never truly disappeared. And inside, prison gossip like that becomes ammo king, reportedly. Fueled things himself, flexing. For social media, even behind bars, trying to call out rivals and hype. Himself as Atlanta's next big thing.
And you can, you know what I'm saying, kind of woo-saw yourself outside of the public opinion.
But the older inmates weren't impressed. One former prisoner told us straight up, "We don't care who your daddy is. If you don't pay what you owe or you run your mouth, you get handled. That's the rule inside." And now King is paying that price in blood. Meanwhile, is pulling every string he's got left. Sources say he's threatened to expose prison conditions publicly while quietly feeding friendly outlets. Stories that shift blame away from King and onto a corrupt system. It's a textbook celebrity crisis move, but with the clock ticking and threats still hanging in the air, one haunting question remains. Is it too late to save him? Even deeper than that, people are asking if this is what happens when someone's raised to feel untouchable, only for reality to swing back harder than anyone ever imagined. And as whispers spread through those prison corridors, the plot keeps getting darker by the hour. This wasn't just a beatdown. Insiders say King may have crossed the wrong people in a way you can't come back from. Multiple sources claim a contraband deal went sideways. Either King tried to back out or he played slick and offended the heavy hitters who run things behind those walls, in a place where survival is the only law. That kind of betrayal is the same as signing your own death warrant.
I really admire his dedication and commitment to the craft, because, you know, I kind of told him, you know, what was wrong about it. Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know
Really?
what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
His name supposedly showed up in a contraband ledger tied to a broken promise, and in prison, broken promises get paid back in blood. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper because people aren't just talking contraband. They're saying King's last name itself is a curse inside the system. The Harris family has always attracted attention, but this time it's toxic. Those old trafficking allegations surrounding T.I. and Tiny never fully disappeared, and King couldn't escape that shadow. Other inmates mocked him, calling him soft, saying the same scandals that haunted his parents now painted a target on his back. Add that to his reputation for being loud, flashy, and acting like the star of the yard, resentment built like dynamite, waiting for a spark. For some of the older prisoners, it wasn't even personal, it was symbolic. One correctional officer admitted off the record that high-profile inmates like King become pawns in someone else's power game. As one former Georgia inmate put it, when a celebrity steps inside, he's not just another inmate. He's a bargaining chip, a statement. You take down the famous one, you send a message to everybody else. And that's exactly what might have happened here. Meanwhile, T.I. and Tiny's relationship is buckling under the weight of this storm. Behind closed doors, sources say their arguments are explosive. Tiny blaming the system and outside influences, while T.I. insists discipline and political connections are the only way out. Tiny wants a softer approach, painting their son as a victim of a broken justice system. T.I. is doubling down on forced back-channel deals and high-powered phone calls. This divide isn't just straining their marriage, it's putting the entire Harris brand under a microscope. One insider close to the couple said flat out, "This is worse than the lawsuits, worse than the reality TV fallout, worse than anything they've ever faced. And the more they scramble, the messier it gets." Family friends are torn on whether going public helps or hurts. Some warn that dragging the prison system through the mud will only make King a bigger target. Others argue silence equals surrender, and the Harris name can't afford to look weak. Every leak, every anonymous tip, Every whisper from a prison guard adds gasoline to a fire already blazing across social media. Fans are connecting dots between old scandals resurfaced, lawsuits, scandals, and now this ambush. It all paints a picture uglier than the Harris family ever imagined. And let's not forget, this ain't King's first brush with controversy. People still remember his social media antics, calling out rivals, flexing stacks of cash, branding himself as Atlanta's next wild card. On the outside, it was entertainment. But inside prison, that same energy made him a target from day one. Other inmates reportedly laughed behind his back, saying he was acting like a gangster when everyone knew he grew up in luxury. Cameras, security, private schools, reality TV. To them, King wasn't a threat. He was a spectacle, and eventually a liability. Inside prison, psychological warfare is just as deadly as fists. Every rumor, every stare, every whispered warning is the first step toward another ambush. With his privileged upbringing being common knowledge, King became the perfect punching bag for resentment. Some inmates hated him for it. Others felt insulted by the way he tried to play tough, and a few simply saw him as a pawn in their own chess game. Either way, King's celebrity was turned against him. His fame became both his weapon and his downfall. Meanwhile, outside those prison walls, the Harris empire is trembling under the weight of this chaos. The other. Kids are being dragged into speculation, forced to navigate messy paternity rumors and old disputes that were supposed to stay buried. The line between private heartbreak and public scandal is gone. Everything is spilling into the open, and the family can't control the narrative anymore. The same spotlight that once built their brand is now tearing it apart, and the emotional toll is brutal. This isn't about a canceled TV show, an embarrassing viral clip, or even messy lawsuit. This is about their son's life and their family's legacy. Every headline makes things worse. Every whisper of betrayal adds another layer of danger, and every public statement feels like a gamble that could backfire. The Harris family always thrived on attention, but right now that attention feels like poison dripping into an open wound justice system doesn't bend for celebrity. It doesn't care how many records your dad sold or how many seasons your family starred in on TV. Behind bars, fame doesn't make you untouchable. It makes you more exposed. It makes you a bargaining chip, a spectacle, a headline waiting to happen. And for King Harris, it's turning his last name into a liability that's threatening his survival. The prison ambush wasn't just one attack. It might be the opening chapter of a saga way darker than anyone realizes. Because now people are asking whether King Harris is simply paying the price of arrogance, or if there's a deeper conspiracy at play, a deal gone wrong. Enemies plotting in the shadows, and a system that's already failed him before he had a chance to grow up. And as the Harris family fights to pull strings and save their legacy, the question haunting everyone is simple but deadly. King just another casualty of fame colliding with reality? Or is he the first domino in a chain reaction that could blow the lid off secrets the family's been trying to bury for years? From the moment King Harris stepped behind those concrete walls, the countdown started, and now it feels like every move since has been building to this brutal climax. What's clear is that he wasn't just attacked for being himself. He was attacked for everything he represents. The Harris name, the scandals, the flashy lifestyle, the reality TV baggage, all of it painted him as a lightning rod for jealousy and resentment. Correctional officers admitted off the record that inmates like King don't just walk into prison. They walk into a storm. Second he entered that yard, he became a pawn in battles that had nothing to do with him personally, but everything to do with power, pride, and reputation. When rivals wanted to send a message, to him, to the other inmates, and to the world watching, King was the perfect target. Insiders point to how fast this spiraled out of control. One source who had served time in Georgia's system explained it best. When someone with headlines comes in, the sharks start circling. They want to break him, test him, or use him to score points. That's exactly what King faced. Whispers of a contraband deal gone wrong, mockery over his privileged upbringing, and taunts tied to his parents' legal troubles. He was swimming with sharks from day one, and when the cameras mysteriously went dark during his ambush, it felt less like a fight and more like a setup. A trap sprung at the perfect moment, leaving him bloodied unconscious and in need of medical rescue. But the fists weren't the only weapons. The psychological blows might be even deadlier. Prison insiders say King was constantly warned to tone it down, to stop flexing, to stop playing the role of celebrity gangster. But he didn't listen. His attempts to stand on business only made him look softer to men who'd spent years mastering the code of survival. Respect isn't bought, it's earned, one ex-inmate said. And that rule has always been written in blood inside those walls, and with King. Not playing by those rules, he was always destined to get handled and handled hard. On the outside, the fallout is shaking the Harris empire like never before. Lawyers are working overtime, trying to spin the story, pushing sympathetic narratives, and feeding friendly media outlets with excuses. Some insiders claim T.I. is preparing to drop bombshells about prison corruption, threatening to expose the system if his son isn't protected. Others say Tiny is quietly begging allies to frame King as the victim of a cruel machine, not a reckless kid who played too tough. But no matter which strategy they choose, the family can't escape one reality. The world is watching, and every headline makes them look weaker. Even worse, the rest of the Harris. Kids are being dragged into the storm. Old rumors about family feuds, messy paternity questions, and past scandals are all resurfacing. Social feeds are filled with speculation, connecting dots between everything the family's been through and this latest crisis. What should have been a private nightmare is now a public circus, and it's tearing them apart piece by piece. Friends close to the family say the emotional toll is worse than anything they've ever endured. Worse than lawsuits, worse than TV cancellations, even worse than that viral Falcons game headlock. This isn't about entertainment anymore. It's about legacy, survival, and the family name itself. Zooming out, King's situation is exposing the cold truth that celebrity privilege doesn't hold weight behind bars. Fame doesn't shield you, it spotlights you. Money can't always protect you. Sometimes it paints you as prey. And family connections don't bend a justice system built on ruthless codes and silent rules. King Harris's high-profile status wasn't a shield. It was the very weapon used against him. He became the prize, the pawn, the bargaining chip, and his blood on the prison floor became the message rivals wanted the world to see. And that's what makes this story so much bigger than one attack. This isn't just about King fighting for his life in a hospital bed. It's about what comes next. Every insider says this ambush feels like just the beginning. If King lives, will he be able to survive the next setup? Waiting in the shadows? Will T's high-powered connections buy him a lifeline, or just spark more enemies who see him as protected and privileged? Will Tiny's softer protective strategy work? Or will it only make King look weaker in the eyes of men who play by a code of power and dominance? These questions hang over the Harris family like storm clouds ready to burst. Some people say this is karma, others say it's conspiracy, and a few even whisper it's destiny. The unmasking of a family that's built itself on drama, wealth, and reputation. Whatever the truth, one fact is impossible to ignore. King Harris is now the face of a brutal reality check, a reminder that in prison, there are no TV edits, no Instagram filters, no security teams ready to save you. It's survival of the fittest, and every wrong move comes with a price. So here we are watching almost in slow motion as the Harris dynasty faces its hardest test. Yet the attack on King isn't just shaking their family, it's shaking the entire culture, forcing fans, critics, and insiders to ask, is this the downfall of a legacy or the start of a redemption arc no one saw coming? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is King a victim of circumstance, or did his own choices make him a target? Could this ambush be the opening act of something even darker? Secrets waiting to spill that could shatter the Harris empire for good. Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget subscribe, share, like, and comment so you never miss the next chapter in this wild saga.